All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Anybody, I should say, if anybody's on. Getting everything set up. Do a little bit shorter session today, but my plan is to try and finish up the item visualization and UI stuff that we were working on last time, which was, when was that? Friday? A few days ago. Too busy over the weekend again to get a session in. I'm sure that's pretty normal for most people, though. Let's see. Working on the equipment stuff. So we were building out the items and then we were placing them in the equipment through the inventory UI we were working on. We got that mostly working, but there's a definitely a bug that we need to work through. And then we need to finish fleshing out the we need to finish fleshing out the descriptions and the stats for the hero. So there's still a few steps as well. This is a good example of what's happening in the bug. It is saving data to this equip table when we're doing the update. So we're doing the update in the Unity. We're passing it to the server to make the updates. I believe I checked and the object that we're sending does have data in these two values. We'll double check that. But you can see here when it's making the save, it lost two of the values. So it lost the hero ID and the equip slot. They didn't make their way over when we made the update to the database. So as soon as this happens, it causes issues and it's actually kind of locking up Unity because I'm not really sure what it's doing. I think it's trying to continually loop through the process. But it's almost like a looping issue where it kind of locks up the entire editor. I did a little bit of research over the weekend. Like I said, I didn't have enough time to do an actual stream, but that's the last thing I was working on, was trying to figure out the bug that I have here and why it's kind of crashing the system when this happens. We can probably do this once just to show how it is, and then we'll go from there. And I don't think I even worked through some of these updates that ChatGPT had given me as far as my process. But you can kind of see I fed it all of the files. I kind of already knew what was happening, but I wanted to see if it could kind of pinpoint how I can fix it. And I also don't know why those elements are disappearing. So that's a different issue, I guess, that I haven't really researched yet. But this was more just trying to figure out why it's locking up the whole system. Because I don't think that's tied to this saving issue. It possibly is, but it didn't look like it because I didn't see any errors in either the server side. There was no errors here. And on the Unity side, I don't have those up, but in the Unity side, there wasn't any errors either. It just freezes the whole thing when I push play. And then once I try to equip an item, it freezes the whole Unity game, the editor, everything, and I end up having to task manager and kill it. I was able to connect to the session through JetBrains, so you can actually attach a debug session to the Unity editor, and I was able to mess around with it that way and get it out of the kind of get it out of that lock state as well. So I know it's not broken, it's looping or something, or it's trying to run something, and it's just hanging the whole system up. So that's kind of a little background on where I'm at so far today. So let's kind of review what this was giving me and see if we can try to fix that locking issue first. So yeah, it's saying every time I move an item, it throws the event on inventory state changed. And we hook onto that event in our inventory manager, and that's what ends up sending the calls back to the server. It says this is what's locking it up. So I have my instance where it's making the calls to the server. Maybe I need to send these asynchronous. Is that what it's telling me to do? Which is fine. I think I can do that. I haven't had to do that on any of the other calls though, so I don't think that's the whole issue. Most of the calls come back within milliseconds, and these aren't really that much bigger than any of the other calls I've done so far, so they shouldn't be taking a lot of time. But what might be happening is it might be kind of doing like an item updated and then an item updated. It might be sending two at the same time almost. And before it's done making an update, maybe another one is triggering database calls. So it might be a transactional thing on the server side too, you know, where you kind of got to lock that record until the transaction's done. I have a feeling that could be part of it as well. And even though I don't know for sure though, because the server didn't throw any errors. And usually when that kind of stuff happens, after so long, it'll time out and say something about something like a database related error where it was either a locked record or it was two records or something were trying to hit the same thing. So I'm not positive exactly what's going on here. Block the Unity main thread until the server responds. So that's the big thing here, is the server's not responding. And I think what that means to me is this might be an issue on the server side. Because I mean, like it's saying, it's going to feel, the way I have it set up right now, it's waiting on this call to finish, which hasn't been an issue so far. But I think what's happening is something's happening on the server side and it's not returning the data. So we might want to add a few more logs in the server just to see which spot it might be getting stuck on. That might be a good first step too. I don't think this is the issue because we're only ever moving one item at a time. And there's only going to be two updates. So what I mean by that is if there was already an item equipped in a slot and you try to move that item, you try to equip a different item, then there's going to be two items moved. The one that's already equipped is going to move to inventory, and then the one in the inventory will move to the equipped slot. So at most, there's two calls happening here. So I don't think that, like, the number of items moving is causing this issue. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense to make some of these things safer. Like, I think it mentioned if someone goes in and just hammers on the equip button, we don't want that to happen. And we'll probably we can set up some safety things where it waits until at least like 250, 300 milliseconds pass before it runs the update method. As a sanity check, temporarily due. There we go. That's a good idea. So if we just comment out the server side, then we'll prove that it's the server causing the issues. So let's do that as a test. Right here, we already have a debug that we can refer to know when it's actually triggering this event. And if we see an absolute crap ton of these events happening, then we know something's causing the event to trigger way more often than we think it should. When we do one equip, like I said, this should maybe trigger twice. Once for the item getting equipped and once for the item that was already equipped moving to inventory. So we'll check for that on our test, that we only get this called twice on an equip, or once if there's not already something equipped. We'll test both of those scenarios. And then let's clean up the database too. Because it did this, let me just put the right data back in here. I don't remember what generated item 4 was. Let's do a quick check. Base item 3, which is a weapon. I remember I entered all the weapons first and all the armor second, so there, that cleans up the database corrupt data. Let me just double check where else. Maybe inventory could have an issue. No, I think it is just the equipped, the update equipped method. The update inventory seems to be working fine. There's no missing data. So the database is cleaned back up, so we should be able to push play. Is the server running? Yeah, the server's running. Let's push play and kind of see what's going on this side. If it doesn't lock up the Unity editor, then we know the issue is probably on the server side. And it's just not throwing any errors, which is making it deceiving. All right, so far, no errors. All right. And you can see the updating server with inventory and equipped hasn't run yet because we haven't caused any of that to happen yet. It does pull like the full data set back on the initialization event here. So that's why you can see everything already set up. So let's try to, now right now there's no armor equipped. So let's try to equip some armor. And we should only see one of those entries. Refresh called. Okay, so there's the entry. This refresh isn't tied to my code. This is tied to the this is tied to this asset, this Unity inventory asset that I'm using and that I've updated to work with my system. So that's where that's coming from. That's not a server related call. All right, now let's try to equip a different armor and see if we get that call twice, which is what I'm expecting. There, see, we will get that call twice when there's already an item equipped in the slot, which is also what we're expecting. But the game's not locking up. This, either one of those two things I just tried to do was locking up the entire system, which means the server was hanging on my update. So we're going to have to research the server side to fix this issue. So we're sending the data over, and I just don't have enough logs in the server, I guess, to really help me yet figure out what's happening. So we have an initial log that's happening when the equip is happening, and the same with the inventory. So those two logs should show up. Down here is where the bug is happening in the database. So this might also be tied to the issue. So before we actually do the save all, which is past the for loop, Let's just go ahead and output the values of equipped item. Or actually, you know what? Let's see if we can do a debug. I don't know. I think this has been giving me issues though. We'll try it. I think I've been having so many issues with my debugger breaking IntelliJ. I even tried to run some updates, like updating the IDE and making sure I didn't have any corrupt files. I'm not. Yeah, see it. I don't understand why it's doing that. I just haven't made the time to debug that. No, I say I don't want to debug the debugger. That's why I haven't made time for it. But I do need to because using the debugger is so important. Whoops. I accidentally just turned my monitor off. There we go. I did throw some kind of error in the corner, but I missed it. Okay, so let's add another log. What will this spit out if I toString a entity class? Will it show me the data, or do I need to do some kind of... I could use... Oh, I can't remember the... Can't remember the syntax. Let's say, how can I convert an entity class in my server to a string so I can output the data in my logs? And I better say Java, just so it knows I'm not on the Unity side. I think it already knows that. It usually saves that context, but yeah, because I think if we can see what's happening here, maybe this initial save is causing the issue, and then it goes back and it tries to pull the response back. So what it does is it does all the updates, and then it does kind of what we do when we normally do the pull. It pulls the new version of equipped, and then it sends it back. So it's saving it, and I think if it messes up on the save here, that might be causing this new pull to return the data back to the user might be having issues. That's my theory. Okay. Yeah, we'll just use the Lombok method. This guy, and it said there is a toString Lombok option that builds it for you. So we should just be able to do equipped item, not equip item, equipped item dot toString. And maybe let's just say what this is. Say, after converting equipped item DB is. I guess in the parentheses. No. 1, 2. We are missing a parentheses. What else was it getting mad about? Oh, what the heck happened there? Okay, so there's a log for that. What else? This actually returns. Well, no, this doesn't return, does it? Does it return the list that it updates? I don't know if it does or not. Let's go down here and add another log after it's done that. Say get equipped as run in the update equipped method. That will let us know if we got past that part. I don't think we are. I think we're getting hosed in this call after it makes the bad update to the database. So it might be just the bad update in the database causing this whole issue. So really, we just need to see what's going on here. So I guess what we also want to see is before it sends the data to the server, let's make sure that the data is there. So let's go ahead and turn these back on. And what I want to do is this is making a list of equipped items. So let's just break this out. List equipped item equipped items equals generate equip request. All right. And then we'll pass in this new object. But before we do, let's do a log sending data to server for equipped items. And I need to do the same thing here. I need to convert this somehow. I've probably already done this a dozen times, but let's just see the best way that ChatGPT thinks I should do this. That'll work. Let's do that. String equipped data equals JSON utility dot to JSON equipped items, and then we can pass that new string. All right. So this will end up locking this up. That's the problem. Well, we don't have to actually send it yet. Let's do this. Let's have that new debug turned on. But let's actually block it from making the call for now. That way we can see the data here before it sends it. And if we see any data missing, then we got to troubleshoot this side. If we don't see any data missing, then we need to keep troubleshooting on the server. Okay, so let's stop this and rerun it. Try our same test where we equip something, and then hopefully that new debug statement with the JSON data will help shed some light on which side's the issue. Oops, I don't have the server running. It has to be running for the client to work. Okay. Try again. All right, let's grab some armor. And push equip. And let's see what it sent. Now, where did I put these debugs at? Because I see these popping up. They must be in the actually generated equipped script itself. Why didn't my JSON thing work? Yeah, so here's where I'm doing a debug in the actual method. And at that point, everything looks good. I just noticed all the data was there. The item ID's there, the hero ID's there, and the slot weapon is there, and that's the part that messed up last time on the database. I had to add the weapon back in. When I do this call, it says it's blank, but that's probably because I did something wrong with my... I didn't set something up in my syntax for the JSON, probably. Even though this is a list, I think it should work. Equip data. Why is that blank? I mean, does that mean my item's null? It can't be null because some of the data updates. I mean, one thing we can do to fix this is we can add some more validation on the server, like a try catch block, so it doesn't, so this doesn't happen and it just skips over it and it gives us some logs. We might need to do that. We should be doing that anyways. That's just a safety thing on the server to keep it from locking up. I don't know why this isn't working though. It's pretty basic. You're like an idiot. Why isn't this working? Is it, does the JSON utility not work on a list? Is that what it was saying before I did that? Doesn't directly serialize bare lists, so you wrap them. Why is that a sealed class? Is that normal? Hmm. I wonder if all the stuff related to RPC is sealed classes, though. Yeah, that's what that is. So that can't be the issue. I don't think. Since my other classes are also sealed classes. My other generated object for the RPC is sealed, I mean. We'll just do this, what it's saying to do here. We'll just make our own little log statement. I was trying to make it quicker, but because it's an RPC object, it doesn't serialize with the JSON utility without doing some extra work. Actually, we can still use that and we'll just change it. What did I just do? That was a mistake. All right. Equipped string equipped data equals. We only have a few things here, so we want to say, oh, but this is a list. So we want to do for each equipped item equipped items. Let's make a string builder. Does string builder work the same way in C# as it does in Java? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's spell it right so that it actually finds it. I doubt this works the same way. Maybe it does though. So we have gen item ID, and that would be item dot generated item ID. Then we have hero ID, item dot ID, and we have I feel like this is kind of what I already did below down there, so I don't think we're going to get different results. That's all right. It's just one more check here. Right before it sends the data, let's make sure it's correct. I don't even know if the new line works inside of a log. Probably not. All right, we still have the actual calls turned off, so let's test this again. Oh, come on. I guess I clicked play twice and it turned it right back off. Have to be patient. I don't have patience sometimes with this thing. All right, let's try to equip again. Let's see where the call's at. 4-2 weapon, 7-2 armor. So that is the correct values that are getting sent across the wire to the server. So I think we've really pinpointed that the issue is somewhere on the server. The data is making its way over, no problem. Now, is the server not deciphering the object that I'm sending across? Possibly. That could possibly be it. So I'm saying update equipped request. And in there I have that equipped item, which is an RPC object. Let's check that. Update equipped request object has the equipped item object, which is right here. This is an RPC object, and it's a list, or a repeated list, I should say. It's not a list, it's this repeated gRPC list. Updating equipped items for hero ID. And then I do a pull from the database. This is not even looking at the object back yet. It's just looking at the hero ID. So it finds any equipped items in the table that match the hero ID. So in our example, it's hero ID 2. So right now, I mean, before I make any updates, it will only pull back this one line based on hero ID 2. And then it takes that entire list that it pulls back and it deletes those entries from the database. So that's step 1. It just cleans out the old entries. Step 2 creates this new list of database, equipped database entries. It loops through the equipped items list that we sent over, the RPC items. And I mean, it's not doing anything crazy. It's setting the values, adding it to this new loop. After converting, equipped DB is blah, blah. Is it even getting that far, though? Because I don't remember seeing this line in the logs when I did this. I probably did, though. Let's go ahead and turn the... or what can I do here? I can put this in a try... Let's do some validation in the server first. Let's try to keep it from locking it up. It might still send bad data over, but I don't want it to lock this whole process up. See if we can figure out a way to do that. So let's say if I don't want to even delete this stuff. I want this to happen before anything happens. If equipped data valid, or if it's not valid, I can just say not valid, then we can just tell it to return. Maybe no, would that work? It might not let me return no. Can I just return and not return anything at all? I don't know. We're going to find out what that does. But I'm going to add this new, and I guess we have to pass the equipped items. So it's going to have a list of equipped items. I did that wrong. That goes in the actual definition. And this will be request dot get equipped item list. I swear I've coded before. It's hard to tell sometimes. Okay. Equip data valid. And this is going to return a Boolean. Equipped data valid. And we're passing in the list of equipped items. And then we just need to loop through that. Let's just do a check. If item dot get hero ID equal to null, or item dot get hero ID just a blank string. I think that's kind of the same thing in the system. Long. Wait, if it's a long, I think that's all I need then. I don't know why I thought that was a string. It's still getting mad at us. I don't think there's a number in there. How do I look for missing data? I guess I could say less, not greater than, if item.getHeroID is less than I'm so confused. Maybe I need to do a log here. Kind of like I did in Unity. Just look at each item. So hero ID, or I'll put a equipped data check hero ID Gen item ID. Equipped slot. The first one is item.get hero ID, then generated, then equipped slot. All right, so that'll give us some more logging. This, I don't know if this is gonna work. I feel like there's a possibility that this is coming across without any value. So maybe I'm just checking this wrong. This one is not a number. This is a string. So we'll say no or is empty. Okay. So that might keep it from locking up at least. If the data is not accurate in the system, I don't know though, because the data is actually getting messed up in the database. It might not be tied to what I just did, but let's test it this way. If it locks up, it's not that hard to get it started back up. I'll just make sure I have saved everything. I don't think there's any changes anyways in here. That way, in case it locks up, we don't lose any changes. And I need to make sure I call that. Did I call it already? That new equip data valid. Okay. That should give us at least a little bit more. Oh, I forgot to return true. If none of that comes up false, that means it's good data. I can even say that here. I could say data looks valid for update equipped. Okay. Let's restart the server. Let's turn on. Let's go ahead and turn on the calls to the server. All right. And let's see what we get. All right, let's push play and see what happens. So it runs fine so far. Of course, we haven't hit the problem area yet. So the get equipped and get inventory are both working fine. Now let's go ahead and try to equip an item and see what happens. There we go. See how it froze up? The animation stopped. That's kind of a giveaway on that issue. Now let's see what's in the server. Updating inventory. And then getting inventory, and then updating equipped items. You can see all the data's here. Data looks valid. All right, so somewhere here you can see we did lose the data at this point. So after converting, equipped item DB is all right, where's this at? So the set is not working. We checked the data up here in this equip data valid, and up there everything looked good. And that's using the same, it's using the same list in this new section. Equip DB. We're just creating a new DB entity object. Equip DB or equipped item. Dot set equip item get generated item ID. Or is that one's working? The other two are the ones that aren't. So equipped item. Oh, look at that. Look at that bug. Do you guys see it? I referred to the wrong object on the setter, or on the getter, I mean. Instead of looking, I should have named these a little bit different, and then this would have been quite a bit more obvious. I named these so similar that I'd miss this. All right, so let's do that real quick to fix this. We'll say, we'll just name this new equipped item. And then we'll name this I don't even know what to call it. All right. Now it's very obvious where my error's at. How many other people do stuff like this? I don't do this often, but when I do, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me to find the error. All right. I bet that's going to fix the whole issue. Now we're going to have to fix the database because it still messed that up. And we're going to have to kill the, you can see both of the new items are there, but we lost the other two elements. All right. So let's apply that. to fix the corrupt database entries. And then we're gonna have to kill Unity. Let's restart the server since we fixed those issues. All right. All this logging for such a small issue that I missed. Oh well. You live and you learn, right? Server's running. Need to restart Unity if it lets me. No, I don't need the backup because I made sure to save right before we clicked run. All right. This should fix all the equipment stuff should work both on the UI side and now in the game server data side. So this should all be updated and working. Now, as far as actually using the new items in the combat, we haven't done that yet. That's probably what we're going to do next is update the actual modified values in the database for the hero, and they'll show up. We're going to make them show up over here on this tab, or not tab, this section of the UI. That way we can see that the updates are working. And then we'll have to update combat. We'll have to go back into the combat logic and update that as well. We want the combat logic to be referring to the modified values and not the base values. Okay. Server's running. We shouldn't have to change anything on the client side, so let's just push play and see what happens. We already fixed the database also. Okay. You can see we added this last time and then I just cleaned up the database entry, so that's why there's already armor here. So let's try to switch it out with this armor. Oh, it didn't fix the issue yet. All right. What else am I missing? Equip data check. There's only one item listed. That doesn't seem right, does it? There should have been 2 items in that list. There should have been the new one. Still getting the bad values. I didn't think that would happen. Oh, no, we're not. We have all the values now. That null is just for because we created a new entry, which is normal. That's just an auto incrementing ID value. So that's good. That part's good. But I can't click on Unity anymore. It's not going to let me because it's locked up again. But it was only, I mean, we were trying to switch one armor item with a different armor item in the inventory. So why isn't there more data in here? We should have had 2 entries getting sent across the wire. And I wish I could, let's see if I can grab onto that because I want to see what's in the logs in Unity. Let's try to attach to the Unity editor and see if I can do anything to get back to the editor without crashing it out. I should be able to pause it. Now that it's attached, I think I can push pause. Maybe down here, this pause. There we go. That pause didn't do anything. Can I get in there now? Come on. Really? What if I minimize everything just to see? No, I can't click on console though. It just kind of, it's hosed the whole thing. I don't think I'm gonna be able to see my logs. Let's see what the database looks like after that. We should have 2 items in there because we were just moving a different item into the armor slot. See, we only have 1 item, which is what... Why did my call only send 1 item across? I mean, that's what it looks like to me anyways. What if we change this into an async? It might still have issues, but it might at least keep it from locking up. Maybe. We're gonna have to kill Unity though. I don't feel like messing with it and trying to figure out how to get it to stop. There is, I haven't used it in a while, but there used to be an asset on the Unity store that would allow you to stop those kind of issues. I don't know if it would work for this one or not. I don't know. This is more of a server issue because I have my code set up where it's waiting for a call. It's not an asynchronous call. It's just waiting on the server. So I don't know if it would fix those kind of issues or not. But the server doesn't actually... Getting equipped item info for item ID 4. Item slot not defined. This is coming across lowercase, but I thought I accounted for that. Doesn't look like I did, actually. Now that I'm looking at this. See how I assign this as a lowercase instead of uppercase? Let's do a fix for that. I thought I had this in here already. Maybe I didn't. That will fix that issue where it's not making updates correctly. But I still don't think that's fixing the underlying issue. That'll just fix this issue. It's getting past here. Just doing one more quick check here. Just one more log statement there to make sure. I don't know why it would stop anywhere in between that one and that one, but I want to make sure the items get added. I guess. Let's restart the server. I don't remember restarting Unity, did I? I guess I did, because there's nothing in the console logs. Alright, so Unity is ready again. The server is ready again. I don't know if the database is ready again. It is. There's just a weapon in here. Now what's the inventory look like then? We've got 4, 10, and 11. We should have one for each number. 1, 2 is in the inventory. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or 10, 11. So are all the items still there and one was just left in the inventory? 1, 2, 3, 4 is in the equip table. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is in the equip table. So yeah, they're all there. All the items are there. No items are unaccounted for. Just something in the process is not assigning it correctly. It kind of looked like when we did a switch like that where there was an item there. It didn't. Maybe we're not figuring that out correctly. When we're flip-flopping items like that, is that what's causing the issue? We need to test it without an item there first, which is how it's set up right now. And if the first call works, and then the second call doesn't work, then that means it's something tied to when there's already an item there. It's not flip-flopping them like we thought it would. All right, data looks good. There should only be a weapon equipped on this guy. And our inventory should show the additional armor item down here, I think. No, it doesn't. Because these two were already down. Oh, no, they weren't both down there. This one on the end was the one that was equipped. So yeah, all the items are down there. So let's try this first. Let's try to push equip on this and hope that it doesn't lock up. Oh, it did. And see, it doesn't even update the logs. Darn it. Okay. The server is not waiting on anything. Right? It doesn't seem like it. I don't understand why Unity's locking up, because the whole idea is it's waiting on a response from the server. Well, the server. Do we need one more log here to show when it's actually sending the data back? It's getting all the way through this process. I'm on the wrong. Well, no, that does run. We can say down here, equipped RPC object built. Okay. And then where's update equipped? So that's happening in here, the one I just did. Oh, I just found another bug. Gosh darn it. This is a really dumb one too. I created the response object and I'm not actually sending it back. That is 100% the issue. Jesus, I'm such an idiot sometimes. All right, I'm gonna have to kill him one more time. My goodness, how did I miss that? That is RPC call 101 that you have to return the response. All right. I'm feeling confident it's not going to lock up now. I don't know that we fixed all the bugs, but I'm feeling much more confident that this is not going to lock up. And that's a good thing because that really slows me down when I have to completely crash out and restart my Unity engine every time. while this is loading, let's look for that real quick. Unity 3D emergency exit asset. I think that it was called something like that. It's not free. There's probably not even that much to this script. I probably just need to do a little more research into what would get us out of issues like we just ran into. Okay, database, let's check it. I think we should have 2 items on that hero now. My save routine is saving like camel case instead of all uppercase. I guess that's fine because this is how it looks in the Unity asset. It's this way on all of their enums. So it's fine that it's lowercase as long as we're searching for it correctly and we convert it to uppercase or whatever in our checks. It should be fine. All right, let's push play. I'm very confident that we are not going to lock up. I'm not confident we fixed all the bugs. Let's try to just remove this first without equipping one on top of it. Okay. And we're good. We didn't lock up. I don't know if the data looks right. Sending data to server. And it sent just the weapon, which is what I would have expected. I get this refresh called a lot. I wonder if I need to look into that and make sure I'm not duplicating things when they don't need to be. All right, let's check the database. Looks good. Let's check the server, make sure there aren't anything funky here. So yeah, we remove it from the item. And it should also show up in the inventory table now. And it does. Item ID 2 is the one that we had equipped. Let me close out all these extra guys over here. Okay. All right, now let's do a test. Let's try to re-equip it. All right. Down here we see sending data to server, and now it's sending both items. Good. We should see 2 equipped items now. On the server side, right down here, we can see the 2 items now. We can see 2 entries when it's converting for the database. And there are 2 equipped items. So that also looks good. Now let's try the issue that we had before when we tried to take this armor and put it on top of that. So let's do a real quick check. So it's item ID 2 is the armor that's currently equipped. And in the inventory, We don't really have a way to know what those are, do we? We need to run one more query here. Maybe two more queries. So what was it? Let me double check here. This is Dragon Armor, which is base item ID 10. So generated item ID 7 is what should move out of the inventory and onto equipped. And then item ID 2 should move into inventory if this works. I don't think it worked last time. That's probably not going to work this time because we haven't made any updates that would fix this. Let's try it. The UI looks correct. Let's see what the server did. The server doesn't look right. There's only a weapon. Oh. It runs the call twice. That's right. No, we're good. Remember how I said it's going to run this twice? The first time to move the first item. So it's going to move the first call it makes, it moved the armor that was there to the inventory. It can't do two at the same time. That's what it's doing. So that was that first event trigger on that move item. And then the second move item was moving the dragon armor or whatever it was from the inventory to the equipped on the hero. So we are good. We are golden. Let's double check the database though. It should be good now. Yep, so generated item ID 7 is on equipped. And item ID 2 dropped down into the inventory. That's awesome. Okay. Fixed our bugs. We can finally move forward. So the next thing I think we want to do here, like I said, is kind of in unison. We're going to take all the mods from the items and implement them onto the modified stats for the hero. So if we look in the database for a hero, we haven't populated it yet, but so when we first did our first test, everything is being based off of these base stats that we set up. But what we want to happen is based on the items and buffs and stuff that are on a hero that should modify the values. So here's all of our mod entries. And what I'm going to do here, this is going to be just the modified value. And then in the code, it will just do the quick math to combine mod strength with base strength. And that'll be the new like total strength value that it'll use in the combat logic. But by keeping these separate, so if my items modify the strength by 5, for example, then in the UI I can easily show, I'll show the base strength of 3, and then the mod strength, I'll put like a +5 in a different color next to it in the UI. And that way it's real easy to see what's the base stat and then how many stats are being gained from items and buffs. The only part that won't work on is when a weapon is equipped, I'm going to make it where it changes the damage value, and that's not going to look the same in the UI. So the mod damage, yeah, see, I didn't even make like a mod low and a mod high damage. Those are actually going to be retained. based on the base stat item. And then the mod damage will be the amount that can get added to those base stats. So it's not really different than the rest. I just wanted to kind of call that out, that one of the values, the way it's modified is slightly different just because there's a low and high damage base stat value, and those aren't, there's no low or high damage mod value. It's just damage. You can add or remove damage with this value. It's just one value that gets added after the base attack damage for the weapon. Okay, so after I confused everyone with that long and drawn out explanation, so I'm just trying to think where we have all the values. Are we passing the mod values appropriately on the items? That's one question. I don't know if we are. Let's look. We might not have done that side of things yet. So my items are composed of these generated items. And if we have the generated items, that should have the list of modifiers in it. So I guess as long as we're not forgetting to make that call, we should already have the mod values for each item. Now we're not attaching those mod values to the visual item anywhere though. So does the, we might have to figure out how to do that. Let's look at the visual item definition. We are passing in the item detail. There's nothing else at this level. Let's jump down into that. There's the generated item link though. So once we have this, we should also have the rest of the data that we need. So the visual item should contain the mods that we need to do some further updates to the UI. And then on the server side, we'll have to manage the actual calculations of adding those two together and updating the database appropriately. And that should happen when items are equipped or unequipped. It should run this new method we're going to create, and it will have to update the hero table. So it'll be a call to the hero client from the item client. When equipped runs, it also needs to run this call to make those updates. So that's what we're going to have to do next here. Not the client, the service over here on the server. I'm going to take a quick 10 or 15 minute break. Go to the bathroom and get a drink real quick, and I'll be back. Let me see, I can set that up here so you guys can see it. We're gonna say I'll be back around 4:45. All right, so we need to make this new method that will update the heroes when the equipped items are changed. So anytime update equipped is ran, I need to piggyback off of this call and make a call to the let's go ahead and clean up some of these debugs too. We don't need all these anymore. This was just to troubleshoot with. We'll leave that one in there just so we know when it's being called. That one's fine. Let's get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. Generating item info. Let's turn this one off, or let's just put this one on debug instead of info. Because that's creating a few extra lines that aren't really needed. All right, that should clean up the logs a little bit. Now, let's go in the hero service. And I think we already updated it to set those new values in the conversion routines. You can see all that here. Wait, those don't look right. Mod block, mod resist, mod defense, mod attack speed. Yeah, I messed up again. Look at that. That needs to be the mod value for all these on the bottom. And it needs to be the mod value on the other side here too. Good check. We haven't actually messed with this yet, so we might have noticed that fairly quickly, but all the mods are together at the bottom of this method. And then everything that's base is above. Let's check the other one. If that one's wrong, the other one might be wrong. So that was convert hero to DB. Here's the other one. Set mod. This one looks like we did it right. All right, so the conversion routines have the right data in them, but we haven't actually assigned anything to the mod entries. And I guess there doesn't have to be something assigned to them. So the logic needs to read. All of these should probably be zeros. I can probably do a quick update, not a quick update, but an update up here to make sure that all the raw data is zeros and not null. And that way it can just calculate, and if there's nothing there, it's zero. Let's see, I can do update hero set mod strength zero, mod agility equal to zero, mod endurance equal to zero, mod willpower 0, mod speed equal to 0, mod HP equal to 0, MP equal to 0, mod damage equal to 0, speed equal to 0, defense equal to 0, 0. Why is intelligence off the end at there? I don't know. Okay. Don't need any wheres. We wanted to update every line in the table. What did I do? References, SQL editor, and reconnect. All right, well, let's copy all this because I don't want to lose it. References, SQL editor. All right, that worked. Let's check it. All right, good. Now we have values in all of those and not nulls because that might have caused issues when we tried to do the math. I'm going to go ahead and turn that feature back off just because it's kind of a good safety feature. Where was that at? Right here. Okay. So we have all of our hero data set up now. Jump over to the server code here. We want to make a new method in the hero service. It's going to be public because we want to be able to access it from the item service. We're going to call it update hero stats. And we're going to pass in a generated item, I guess. Or let's look and see where we want to hook this and what type of item we're going to pass. But I think generated item would be the best way because then we have all of the data inside that one object. The wrong method. I don't update equipped. So after we've saved it, right in here's about where we want to do this at. So we can use, we can't use this. This doesn't have all the information we need. But we can use, we can use this response equipped items object because it's going to have a list of all the equipped items, no matter which slot they're in. We don't care. We're just going to run through all the mods and add them up. So right after we've added all the items to this, but before we return, we want to do the update here. So update hero stats from item mods. And we probably should call that out in the hero service as well, because eventually we're going to have other things that update hero stats. We're going to have buff spells, debuff spells, maybe skills, just different ways to update it. So let's update hero stats from equipped. Let's just call it out that way. And this will be a list generated item equipped items. Okay. And we can go ahead and call that now. Oh, I don't have the hero service and the item service yet. This will allow us to separate concerns here. If there's anything updating a hero object, it should be happening in the hero service. So yeah, we could make this update in here, but that's not really the right way to do it. You don't want the items updating heroes. You want to keep it decoupled as much as possible. Now we can change that. There we go. So now we're making the call. And over here, we just need to kind of figure out a way to gather all of these updates. So let me think. Maybe we should have a we'll create a temporary DB object for hero. We'll just call it mod stats. It's not what's going to be saved to the database, but this can store all of the updates we're getting ready to do. It will add all of the values together. And then we'll pull them from this DB to the one for the actual hero. Which, do we need to pull the hero into this, or does equipped items say what the hero is? I can't remember. No, we need to pass the hero ID as well. Because I'm not seeing it there, and we're going to need it to make this update. Let's see. All right, there we go. We're passing the hero ID now. That's good. So we have this new value here. We're going to have to do a double loop. So the first loop will be through each item. And then the second loop will be through the list of modifiers within that item. So this first loop will be for generated item. Let's rename that to equip item. Then we need to jump in one more loop here and say for each generated item we did make a new, I remember us making a view also. Does that help us? That might help us get what we're trying to get here. We might only need the hero ID and not the actual list, because this has the modified attribute. It has the modified value. That's all we need is those two things to make the update we're doing. I forgot I had made this view. So let's do this. Let's redo this. So instead of passing in the items, we don't need them. We've already saved the data. By the time this is called, the data has already been saved to the database, which is important since we need to pull the current list of items. So let's go back over here and get rid of this. And instead of doing that step, we are still going to want this mod stats. That'll still work the way I want it to. Actually, I don't even know if we need it. So we're going to need to pull the hero. Pull hero DB. Pull item mod view DB. This is a list. If we look at this data, so for example, we're looking at hero ID 2. So you can see this is going to return a list of all of these entries. All of those need to be looped through and added to our modified stats in our hero. So we need that. We need the one that we're updating, which is what we're grabbing here. We don't want to add, we want it to start at 0 the way we're doing this though. What I'm thinking about in my head is when I get to the point where I'm adding buffs as well. This is going to have, we want this all in one method. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to zero out the values at the beginning here. Zero out all the mod values. Then we're going to go through the list of items. And later on, when we implement it, we're going to go through the list of buffs and the list of anything else that can modify this, all in this method together. Because otherwise, we run into the issue where if we have multiple methods, there's no way to determine what the values are from the other things. So, for example, if I added 20 to strength from items, and then I tell it to run the update for the buffs, I don't know. It's not going to know how much to delete for the buffs from that number before it adds. Yeah, it's more confusion if I keep them separate. So we're going to put them all in this one method. I don't know if that made sense when I was trying to explain it, but the first thing you need to do in a method like this is kind of start from 0. And you can't start from 0 on multiple methods. you're going to delete whatever happened from this method. So if we had one for equipment and then you run the buff one and it zeroes them back out, all your updates from equipment just disappeared. The only other way to go about this could be to have additional fields, which I don't really want to do either. Like you could have separate fields for item mods and you could have separate mods for buffs. That just seems like it could get really messy really quick though, so we need at least one mod value field because we can't keep the base stats and the mod stats separate otherwise. But I don't think we need more than this. So this should just be the hero. All right, so we got the hero. And then we want to pull a list of, what was this called? Equipped mod DBs. Equipped mods. And I'm positive I don't have this repository in here yet, so let's add that. Now, should I allow the item service to give me this back? To keep, like I was saying earlier, separation of concern type stuff? Why is that getting mad? Oh, I renamed it. I renamed it to just update hero stats, I think. Wait a minute, what is all this? Did I already do this? If I did, I didn't do it all the way. There's my zero out mods. Maybe I've already done some of what I'm talking about and I just don't remember. Because see, I knew I had to zero them out. Where's this being called from? Apparently I've already done some of this work and I just forgot. I never called this method. But it looks like I was on the right track here, doesn't it? So I pull the hero repository in. But this is kind of messy. Yeah. Let's delete this. I think I must have done this earlier on and I don't want to break this out by item like this. And then this is doing what? Now some of this is right. Kind of. But we're not going to pass in a generated item in. So I don't think I'm going to use this either. This kind of, we can refer to this if we need to kind of think through the process because we are going to have to do a switch based on what the attribute is. And then we're going to have to look at each different attribute. So it'll be like a dozen different entries here to update the right field. We can definitely use this because I already said how we need to zero them all out in the process. So that's good to see. I already have that. Okay. We were on the right track. There was nothing wrong there. So up here I can run that. I have this here repository pulled in. And then I want to run the zero out mods on that object. Start from 0. All mod values. Okay. Full list of item mod view DB. All right, back to where I was at. Sorry, we hit a little tangent, little extra side quest there because I didn't realize I had already started working on this at some point. All right. So I think what I wanted to do is I'm going to create a method in here that returns. Let's make sure I don't already have it. Hold on a second. My dog's outside whining. I'm just going to double check and see if I'm already returning a list of equipped mod DBs in any of my methods. I don't think I am, but I don't want to for sure say that. Okay, yeah. That's the only 2 times it comes up, and neither one of those is returning it. So let's create a new method. It's going to return the list of equipped mod DBs. Get item modifiers. And what do I need to pass in? I need to pass in the hero ID. And then I just need to return equipped mod repository. Find all by hero ID. All right. Get, let's rename this though. Get equipped item modifiers for hero. All right, that sounds a little bit better. Item service dot get equipped item modifiers for hero. Okay. All right, so we have the hero. The stats have been zeroed out. We have the list of all the mods. So we're going to have to just loop through the mods. And we can put that in its own little helper function. The part where it actually... Will that work? I don't know. We'll see here. We'll just build it out in here, and if we want to, we'll clean it up and move it out. So we need to loop through these equip mod DBs now. So, and then for each mod, we need to do that switch that I mentioned, and we can probably copy what we had in this other one down here as a starting point, even though it doesn't have them all built out yet. Okay. Change this to it didn't come over the cleanest, but that's all right. All right, so hero, set mod, get whatever's there already, and then add the additional value. Let's make sure this is uppercase, just in case we have more of those lowercase issues. All right. We just need to add all of the values in here now. Okay. So we have a few items here. That one's not named right. I need to rename that mod. The one that's named armor, but the mod name is defense. That should be named defense. Let's just change it here and then we'll figure out what I have to change in the database to make that work. All right. Let's just, I'm going to pull up my pull up all the mod values over here because I need to create one for each. Actually, I can do it this way. I'll just move this off to my other screen for now so I can see it while I'm making these updates. And we'll just go from top to bottom so I don't miss any. So case, strength, hero dot set mod strength, hero dot get mod strength, plus item mod dot get generated item modifier value. Agility, mod agility, get mod agility, endurance, willpower. Speed. Might already have a speed one. No, we don't. That's attack speed. That's different. intelligence. HP, I think I do have that one already. And MP. Let's change that one as well. No reason to name these funky ways that will confuse me. I want to move those in order that they are in the database. HP, MP, damage is next, so that one's good. And then attack speed is next. Defense, resist, and block. Case, resist. Okay, that should be all of them. Not too bad. Okay, so that's looping through all the item mods and updating the value. For now, since we don't have any buffs or anything else in the game yet, at the end here we just need to resave this back to the database. Now, do we need to return this? No, this is a void, so we're not returning it. We just need to make sure it gets updated. All right. So once we trigger one equip on a hero, it should make the update, in theory. So let's restart the server. Uh-oh. Created a circular dependency. I don't know that it's really a circular dependency, is it? When I generate one, it needs access to the other one. That's the only difference. It didn't like me adding item service because item service has hero service. I don't know how that makes it. How does that make it a circular dependency, though? Hero service. Hmm. I don't think that's a circular dependency. That shouldn't cause any issues what I'm doing here, right? There should just be one of these being created. That's the default way that Spring works when you instantiate something this way. And then anyone that needs to use it should be able to hook onto it. Huh. I'm really surprised. I didn't think that was a definition of a circular reference. And all I was doing was to make this a little bit cleaner so I didn't have to pull in an item related repository. But I mean, I don't really want to allow circular dependencies either. I know that's not our circular references. But it's saying if I turn this on, it will be okay. Let's ask ChatGPT, what is your recommended fix for these two services? I wanted to keep separation of types based on the service. But when I try to pull the other service, I don't know how to write that. But when I pull the services into each other, I guess it is creating a circular reference. All right, let's add those two files. Oops. Hero service and the item service. So there's the two that are complaining. Let's see, what would ChatGPT recommend I do? It's like which standard is more important in this point, at this case, because I feel like I have to break the standard of keeping your object types decoupled if I remove this circular reference. Because then I'm going to be using one of my item related repositories in my hero service, and that just feels wrong to me. It would work either way. This is more of just a curiosity of mine of what's considered the right way to do this. If I turn off circular references, then I might actually create issues later on where I'm not realizing it too. So that's not a safe, doesn't seem like a safe way, but wow, ChatGPT's been thinking a while. Maybe it doesn't know either. Hmm. What is it doing? I need a little spinner so I know if it's still thinking. I think it is. There we go. Come on. Spit it out. I know what I've done. I want to know how to fix it. Wow, it is taking its time. Create a third. That's what it's saying. I should create a shared domain outside of item service and hero service. A lot of moves though. A lot of updates. I think what I'm going to do here then is put this on my to-do list. But for now, I'm going to enable the application properties that'll allow this to just work like it is currently. Because this, I can do this maybe off camera and make these updates. So I'm gonna make a note in my notebook here. That way I don't forget about it. Okay. I got a good note there so I remember what I was doing. And now let's go ahead and do the bad and just turn that on for now. And we'll come back and I'll refactor that off camera so you guys don't have to watch all of that. Mainly just pulling a lot of the methods between item service and hero service out into their own shared service that will be utilized by both of these. So that does make sense. That's a clean way to do it. Okay. But for now, we should be able to get the server to run now that we took that out. Maybe not. Maybe it won't work this way. Okay. I don't know. We're going to take that back out then. And I'm just going to change for now. We're going to add that other dependency back in, or other repository related to items in instead of this. So we're going to pull this out. we're gonna pull in the equipped mod. What was that called? Equipped mod repository. And down here, instead of letting the item service do it, we'll do it here for now. Okay. And one more error down here. What? Didn't I just add item service? Maybe I didn't just add it. Why is it getting mad now if it was already in there? I'm so confused. Or did I add hero service to this one? Where does that show up? Does it only show up here? Did I just... That's what I did, is I added it here. It was already in hero service. Item service was already in hero service. Hmm. Well, oh crap. How can I do this? I think I'm going to name this hero items service so that it kind of shows how it's sharing between the two. Hmm. All right, so if I just remove the item and the hero from each one of these, it's going to break the methods that I need to move into this new service. So maybe this isn't as hard as I think it is. So let's take this and get rid of it. So it needs to be removed from up here. Okay. So that's just one method so far. Red. What's my red up here? Nothing. Okay, there's just this one spot that we just added that's complaining. So that'll switch to the new service we're getting ready to create. And on the hero service, we took out item. We're going to take this out too. There's just two methods here, it looks like. So if I make this new shared service, this will be on the shared service. And this will be on the shared service. I know those are still red. I want them to be red. I just want to kind of call out what's happening here. So we have to move the get equipped to the shared service. This new one we just created that will find all the equipped we'll call this get equipped mods for hero. We'll call it that for that one. That one can still be called get equipped. That sounds good. And then this other one, update hero stats, sounds good as well. So let's create a new service. We'll call it hero items service. We can always rename that, but I think that sounds good. And first one we need to move is update hero stats. Okay. Why do I have an extra? I don't know what that is. I probably forgot to grab one. So when I paste this back in, I need to probably add one. Okay. Zero out mod can move. It's not being used anywhere over here. It shouldn't be. So move that to the new shared class, shared service. Okay. What else? Do I do this here? Or do I tell it to use the hero service to pull that back? Let's see how it. No, it's saying I should pull all those repos into this shared service, which I don't like. I just don't like it. I guess it's fine. This does remove the circular reference. Okay, so we need the hero repository. What else? This was the so I guess this isn't actually the shared service because we're in the shared service. This is going to have to be the actual pull, which was the equipped mod DB. So we need that repository. Okay. All right. Is that it for this one? All right. And the item service. So instead of this, we're going to change this to this new service. Okay. All right. That, clean that up, I guess. And then we still have to do get equipped. Needs to move out of item service. Okay, that's being called lots of times. Okay, so we want to pull this out here. Move it to the hero item service. And then let's see how much we broke and what we need to update here. So we need the equip detail repository. Can I pull that one in too? That one's definitely not related to a hero. That's just a generic. But that's just a conversion routine. So I can go to the item service. Find that. What was the name of it? Convert equip detail. Okay. Is it only being used? It's only being used by what I pulled out. So let's pull this out too then. If it's only being used over there, it doesn't need to be in here. I guess this is making those other services a little bit more manageable. All right. Okay. So this is going to change. So I need to implement a new service in this one now. Okay, that looks good. That one does not look good. That one's fine right now. So let's see what I got broken over here. Get equipped. I thought it said it wasn't being used. Didn't I just move get equipped because I said it doesn't look like it's getting used anywhere else? That's fine. We just need to call it from the new service. All right. And down here. Why is it deleting that? Don't delete that. What? Oh, it has an S on it. All right. Better? Everybody's happy now? I'm not 100% okay with what I just did. I don't think it's a whole lot cleaner. I still might have to kind of go back through and see if there's a way to make this more logical, but it did remove the circular dependency that we created when we tried to assign something to the hero service in the items. So I'm going to close all this. And we're going to do a clean and an install to make sure all of that compiles correctly. Quite a few changes we just made there. Yeah, getting to the point I'm gonna have to get off of here too. We're doing some work on a bathroom in our house and it has to get done by Thanksgiving. And we have company over. Pretty major work. We completely had to we had to gut it and redo it because the floors were all warped and moldy. We're getting there though. We've been working on it for 2 or 3 weeks now. Just a little bit here and there. Down to crunch time though. I only have a few days left. All right, let's see if the server will start. And the only other thing we want to check is make sure the hero stats are getting updated. And if they are, I think that would be kind of be a good stopping point. And that's where we'll start up the next time is once we have the data, it's getting saved correctly. And the object, all we have to do is display it in Unity. So we're pretty close there. And then a step after that will be updating the combat to use the proper new fields instead of the old ones. That shouldn't take a really long time either, because we don't have a lot going on in combat yet anyways. All right. So there's that. The server's running again. It's happy. That's still running. So we're just going to restart it. Really all we want to do here is move an equipment item and then check the database since we don't have a way to see it in our UI yet. And make sure that the mod stats are updated in the database. So let's equip leather armor. Now let's go check the database. And we got to go to, let's close all this because we got way too much crap open. We just want to pull the heroes back, and we updated hero ID 2, I believe. So let's see what we got. Hero ID 2 is this row. All right. We do have a couple updates, although I feel like there was more than that. That's another thing we'll have to do in another next time we do this. We also need to update the item info to show the mods. Update item info panel to show item mods. And then update hero stats to show base plus mod stats. All right. So we did get some, let's see if there's anything. Oh, there is some issues here. So I remember we did change a couple things here. Let's do that real quick. This might be a data related issue. Let's jump into the base item modifiers. I changed anything that said armor to defense because I don't know why I named it armor. It just was confusing. I did it because I'm an idiot. And then mana we changed to MP. And that's all the entries I have right now. I think the rest of those are okay. Eventually we'll have a whole lot more mod in the library here for it to pick from. This was just enough to kind of test things out. All right, that looks better. Let's just go ahead and equip some items that have a lot more mods. I know the purple ones are going to have more mods than these low-level ones. Let's equip that one, and let's equip that one. So now we should have quite a few mods. So let's check the database again. And actually we can check the server real quick and make sure we got rid of the unknown mod type found. We did not yet. So that didn't fix that issue. Let's go here. And let's have it output what the value it was trying to find, so that we know what it is. That will probably help. All right. Let's restart the server. We shouldn't have to restart Unity. We can just switch items again and it'll trigger all this. All right, let's put this blue item on there. Okay. Armor, mana, armor. Okay, so I must be saving. This must be saved somewhere else than the base mod table that I updated. So let's look for those values and just clean them up one time here. So that would be, where would that be? The generated item modifiers, that's where it's at. All right, so let's do a couple updates here. So say update generated item modifier set generated item modifier attribute. I did not find that. Equal to defense where all right, so anywhere that it says armor right now, we want it to change it to defense. That's what this does. I'm probably gonna have to turn that thing on again. Yeah, I am. All right, let's copy that just in case we don't want to lose it. And preferences, SQL editor, turn off safe updates for now. We got to reload into the local host. And now we can run that again and it should work. Okay. All right, we got rid of all the armor values. Now we got to get rid of the mana values. So wherever we want to switch it to MP, anywhere that it reads mana. All right, that looks better. Let's try this again. Put the purple item back on. It has the most mods on it. Check the server. All right, we don't have this unknown mod type anymore down here. So now let's look at the database for hero and see if that looks any better. If we have a whole lot more values for Bob, then this is probably working. Whoops. Yeah, see how many more mods we have, so now we're good. The problem is I don't have a lot in my test library either. It can only modify like 3 or 4 things. So a lot of these are just the same ones over and it's adding them from both of the items. But yeah, All right, we got that working. So next time what we'll do is update the first we'll update the item info tab so it shows the actual mods that are on each item. So that's right here, this section here. We're going to clean this whole UI up so there's room for all the mods. Right now I think we can have up to 5 or 6 mods, so we need to make some room. Each mod will be a line here. So we'll have to maybe remove. We'll probably move this up, make this fit into just one line, and then there'll be enough room to fit pretty much what we have here already. We can get rid of item slot because it's already showing up on item type. So yeah, we can clean that up and add the mods under here. That shouldn't be too hard because we already have all the data. And then the same thing over here. This shouldn't be too hard either, but we're going to create a new update method that will actually have all the base stats listed, and then it's going to list all the base numbers first, and then it's going to say plus and the mod value, and the plus mod value should be in a different color preferably, just so it stands out. And then we'll get rid of this read me button, which isn't tied to my game. And that will pretty much finish up the equipment UI. Will be completed. It'll be working with the server, and it will be completed to the point where we can implement it back into the combat scene and make the updates to combat to make sure that all those stats are copying over and being utilized correctly. So I like it. We're making really good progress. As far as my first play test, I'm probably going to have to push it out a week or two, which isn't a big deal. We're making good progress, and that's all I'm really worried about. Where is my Scrivener, my task list here? So we are pretty much done with these 2 steps. I mean, I think I can mark this first step out. I haven't really finished the UI all the way yet. I'm going to go ahead and mark this one as done though. Yeah, I want to use this green color. And then this one will definitely be done in the next session. We're really close. Probably just another hour or 2 to finish this up. This is not even a really long item. That'll take a couple hours. So that might even be in the next session as well. Yeah. So once we're done with these next 2, we're starting to get into some more really kind of building out the fun parts of the game, building out some loot and building out random monster generations so we don't have this same standard group of monsters every single time we test. So really, if I could get all of this done, this section here done, I could kind of do like an initial test. I could probably set it up where we can do an initial play test after this step. And that will allow us to at least do there's at least some randomization here. So you have your party. That part might not be random yet though. So yeah, I don't know. We'll probably push the playtest out a little bit rather than try to cram it in this week like I wanted to. Because there's just not quite enough here to actually set up. We need some of these extra things down here towards the bottom that allow us to set up individual players, and we just haven't defined all that yet. But we are making really good progress. And I think some of these sections will start to go a little bit faster because some of the stuff we're doing right now, it's kind of a learning thing. You know, I'm running into issues just in general, not really related to the game, but just learning how to properly structure the code and get it to work with the server and the client. And as we've solved some of those issues, we won't run into them as much down here. So my hope is that we will speed up a little bit on all of this and be able to get this done within a week or 2 after Thanksgiving. and getting those play tests started will really be helpful in starting to get more traction on the channel, getting people more interested and more integrated into the process and helping out. So I'm really excited for that part, and I'm going to try to market this a whole lot once we get to that point, so we can kind of build a community of people that are working with me to get this game set up and to give me feedback and stuff. So anyways, this is it for today. We made good progress, and my plan is to be on again tomorrow for at least a couple hours so we can keep working on this. So I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.